Hello, Goddess. Welcome back. It's Andrea with You Are Mind, Body, Soul, where I guide goddesses to bridge the mind, body, and soul through psychosomatic education, consciousness reconditioning, and goddess alchemy. I work with divine feminine energy. I'm a goddess life coach. And before we get started, I want to remind you to please like, share, and subscribe to this video and to this channel so that you can get these updates on these videos that I drop every Monday for your goddess education and elevation. Welcome into this space. I am so happy to have you today to talk about one of my favorite topics, which is the dark goddess. Today, we're going to talk about the dark goddess. What is the dark goddess? What is she all about? And we're also going to tie that in with intuition as well as healthy boundaries. These are all some of my favorite topics. And I just want to bring them all in today to tie them together and to give you some enlightenment upon one of the aspects that we all have as women. So please come in, get comfortable. I do have a masculine foundation for these videos, but once I'm in here, I am in here. So I don't know how long this video is going to be, but I just have to tell you that the energy that I am feeling as I have come to create this video, because it's actually really funny. So I was gonna do this video earlier, but I had to go take care of something and come back to this because I was like, I want to go and I want to take care of this one particular thing, and I want to bring that energy into the video. So I'm not going to tell you exactly what that was. So that'll just be a little mystery for you. But the dark goddess energy prevails. She is out here, and I am just loving this season of Venus retrograde, which that may or may not be the case once I've launched this video. But Venus is retrograde. She's a dark goddess. If you really look into the origins of the planet Venus and all of the symbology and the history behind her story of Venus, you will find that Venus is a dark goddess. Okay. But we're going to get into it. So settle in. Hopefully you have somewhere comfortable to sit. Hopefully you're sipping on something nice, like some water or a tea. I've got my water right here. And settle in with me. So I feel like this is going to be a real deep one because it's getting dark. It's going to be dark. So we're going deep. So let's go ahead and just say hello to everyone. Let's greet ourselves. Throw up your hands for the symbol of everlasting life, which is a feminine symbol. It's across feminine statues around the world. It's an ancient symbol. Okay. We're going to take our left hand, put that over our heart like we do in the academy. Even though we're not necessarily in the academy right now, we are together. And we want to give gratitude and thanks to all of the goddesses that are connecting in with this message, that get to receive that, and the connection that we create through our presence and through our awareness brings us all together to create this virtual temple. Okay. So just bringing that energy in, reach out, touch your goddess sisters across the realms. And I feel like those are like mad calluses on my hand, but that's okay. All right. So welcome. What is the dark goddess? Let's start off with that. And y'all know I have my notes here. So if you see me looking down, I'm looking right here, right there. Okay. So what is the dark goddess and why do we need her? I want you to take some deep breaths as we get into this meditation. And where I want you to channel that breath into is right down into that space underneath your belly and right above your womb. That's your Dan Kin. Okay. And right behind that is right around the base of your spine. And in that space, we hold a bundle of energy that is relevant to our life force. Okay. And there's an energy there that when we breathe into that space, we get to activate this sacred life force within each and every one of us. So find your breath for me and just exhale it right into that space. Okay. The dark goddess is the ancient aspects that are within each and every one of us. It is an archetypal energy. Archetypal energy is the energy of the collective consciousness. Okay. Collective consciousness is basically when you have a group of people, namely feminine energy on this planet, women, who have similar features, similar thoughts, similar desires, similar struggles. To an extent, most women are going to have all of these similarities, okay? And throughout the annals of time in history, women, we have overcome similar challenges, and we have overcome and we have come through similar successes. And our collective experience of these and the way that we process these and the way that we integrate them into our being, whether or not we're aware of the fact that we are integrating them, or whether or not we are being affected inadvertently through our subconscious and through our DNA and through our lineages. All of these things are a part of the collective consciousness. Because we are being affected by the lineage that we come from, our mother, because we are being affected by the society that we live in, that's cultural. Okay. The anthropological history that we come from, herstory, they're all the same. There is a thread that runs through all of us as women. And throughout herstory, in time, there are certain characters that end up being branches or umbrellas of characteristics that we as women can look up to find a deeper understanding of ourselves. And that is what an archetype is. An archetype is a reflection of a collective conscious programming or a collective conscious definition that has been funneled into a particular personality or figure throughout history. So the archetype, simple baseline archetypes would be like the maiden, the mother, and the crone. Okay. So when we come into the dark goddess archetype, we have to be aware that the dark goddess archetype has been around since the start of documented time. And we could use the Bible, for example, because a lot of us, men and women, have been led to believe that time starts and history starts when the Bible was written. It goes way further back than the Bible, but we're not going to get into that today. But in biblical times, we can go back to trace some of the dark goddess origins into the archetype of Lilith. Okay. Lilith, as a goddess, she is one of the first women who they say that she was created at the same time as Adam, rather than Eve, who was actually taken from Adam's rib and then created. Lilith was different because she was equal to Adam. And because through her dark goddess energy, she felt that she had the autonomy and the strength to do her own damn thing, she went out into the wilderness, as her story goes. And she got her rites of passages through Mother Earth and through Mama Gaia and in the wilderness, where she was with the wild. And she tapped into the darkness and the raw energy of that, rather than the safe confines of the garden where things were a little easier and where there was the shelter of that and the rules and the structure of the rules. Instead, she chose to go out into the wilderness and to let Mother Nature and the deep wisdom of the primal material, which is the source of all of our beings, to be her guide. So she tapped into that raw essence of her being. I think they call it anima mundi. Don't quote me on that. But she went out and she earned her stripes on her own. Okay. I think that some even say that she she had children without the need of a male. There are occult stories regarding those type of situations as well. Okay. Mother Mary was not the first to have a child through immaculate conception, right? This stuff goes way back into time, but I'm not an expert on that, so I'm not going to go into those details. You can look it up for yourself. All right. So the darkness and that dark goddess energy that Lilith has, she is known as the rebel. And of course, she was villainized for that because she didn't want to follow what was the status quo at that time. And the sensational, attractive thing about a woman that is activated and operating through her dark goddess energy is the fact that there is something that is so taboo about the way in which she presents herself and the way in which she carries herself and the energy in which she exudes. Because there is a rawness, because she is deeply rooted. She is deeply rooted into her primal energy, her natural urges, her instincts. And because she honors this, she is comfortable with the activation of her intuition, and she follows her intuition. She follows her internal compass. And again, because throughout history, the masculine, undivine masculine, has a fear of the power of a woman that is connected within her roots, her natural primal source energy. Men fear this because it is untamable, it is raw, it is unpredictable. And these are some of the wilder, darker attributes of the dark goddess. And while we're on it, we want to be aware as we start to use these statements and as we start to Google these key terms and we jump down these rabbit holes, that again, the whole point in having this conversation is so that we can begin to have a roadmap into ourselves to find and seek out those answers within ourselves through quiet reflection, meditation, and the experience of walking on our personal journeys and being self-guided and self-directed. Because a lot of times we are looking for things outside of ourselves to give us the answers. And we have been programmed as a collective consciousness of women, which the subconscious program of a collective whole is something that is pervasive for generations upon generations upon generations. Which is why, if you've ever been in a situation where you have been afraid to self-touch or self-examine, physically touching yourself, or have had a stigma surrounding pleasure and dance and moving your body and allowing your body to be seen, allowing your voice to be heard, We can begin to unravel and unwind these restraints on our consciousness, which affects our energy, which shows up in our bodies, by recognizing that these are collective conscious wounds. And that is why it is so amazing to be a woman, because we suffer from similar things, which means that if we are evolving and we are growing beyond suffering and growing beyond pain, that we're all going to grow and we're all going to level up together because we have wounds. And to have a womb is to have a sacred, indefinite connection with the planet, with Mother Earth. And she is the great mother. So this is a powerful place to be. And we are all connected through this womb. We're all connected through the dark goddess. Okay. So the dark goddess is that root energy, and she comes down here into the base of the spine, into the womb, into the belly. Now, briefly, I'm not going to go into the light goddess because she's just not as interesting. But the light goddess, the people pleaser, the person that is, out here to take care of others, and she's external. Her energy comes more from the crown, comes from up here, which is why I have my purple, because we do love our light goddess energy as well. And to an extent, I'm working in my light goddess energy here. I'm serving, I'm showing up in service for you, for the community, for the tribe. Okay. Just to pay homage to her and her energy. But the dark goddess is that depth. It's the root. It is what is in the soil. It is what nurtures the trees, which give us shelter and gives us protection. So naturally, she's going to be a force to be reckoned with. Okay. And you know that you are activated in your dark goddess energy when you trust your gut instincts, when you learn how to sit with the sensations of your body, and you start to recognize what it is they're telling you when it happens. So if you know something is not for your best and highest good, and you feel it in your body, and you feel yourself speaking to you in the form of sensations in your body, do you listen? Or do you allow the program of your ego and the program of your mind to talk you out of what you feel is true, and talking you out of trusting your feelings? Because that root, that connection, that primal force connection will always give you truth. And the truth is not always fun, which is why society has taught us to paint over ourselves. Throughout history, women were made to stay in the house or in the tent when they were in their cycles. We were taught that to have moon cycles, monthly cycles, was to be dirty, because it's that primal root energy that is so powerful, and it's feared. So if you're still watching this video, I want to ask you, what parts of yourself do you fear? Are you afraid of yourself? Are you afraid of your power? Are you afraid of your potential? Are you afraid to speak your truth? Are you afraid to dance? And are you afraid to move? This problem is bigger than you, but the solution starts with you and allowing yourself to not be governed by these fears. These fears were simply programs that were inserted into our consciousness by the addictive masculine system. And we want to understand that, because anytime there is a fear that you have in your life, again, I'm a warrior, Andrea. My name means soldier. So if there's any kind of fear or obstacle or opposition, I'm going to find the solution to that problem and I'm going to figure it out, because I'm very dark goddess activated. And I want to encourage you to do the same, to look at your fears and to shrink them down by knowing that chances are those fears are irrational because it's a part of the subconscious. So it affects you without you even knowing why. So don't give it that power. You want to tap into the root of who you are. Okay. So the dark goddess is authentic. And that is why she's villainized oftentimes, because society has told us to be a good girl, like being a good girl, being acceptable, dressing in the way that men will feel safe around you, to control themselves or to control you. That's what the good girl does. She tries to appease, okay? But the dark goddess is authentic. She's going to show up however she feels fit, however she feels is in authentic alignment with who she is. So don't be afraid of your authenticity. And speaking to you as a pole dancer, I can tell you that sometimes you just have to show up for yourself. If you want to wear heels and let that booty stand up in heels, you do it, girl. You go out there and you get those heels. Okay. If you want to dance like nobody is watching you. Write that book. Create that work of art that you know is just so daunting for you. Take the first step, because it is a part of your authentic expression. Let your dark goddess take the wheel. Call into her energy and her power. Be self-directed. Stop asking for permission. We talked about this already, asking for permission in previous videos, okay? So the dark goddess is self-directed. She has an internal compass of where to go, just like Lilith in the wilderness. She followed her intuition and her internal compass that connects her through the earth, through her womb, to guide her way. And when you are rooted in yourself and you are embodied in your authenticity, you naturally elevate your intuition. And your intuition is your sixth sense. So we have our 5 natural senses, and then there is the intuition, which is quiet, which we just talked about. It is very subtle, and it is very in relation to your body. So one of the ways in which you can develop your intuition is when you are feeling brought up to a choice point in your life. And I need to do a video on choice point. Let me make a note. You can use the power of your imagination to visualize yourself at a crossroads. So let's do that right now, okay? Let's take a look at maybe a question that you may have, or something that you're trying to figure out and decide which direction you should go in. So what you're going to do is you're going to close your eyes, okay? And in your mind, you're going to see yourself at a crossroads where there are 2 paths that split off like a fork in the road, okay? And you're going to put option A on the left side and option B on the right path, okay? And then also let's make a middle path. Let's make a middle path if there's an in between. Because there's always more than just the dualistic features that we have been programmed to believe in. There are always multiple choices and options. But for now, let's just start with 3, just to start to exercise the muscle of our intuitive imaginings. And you're going to channel into your Dan Qian, right below your belly, above your womb, that gut area. And you're going to ask yourself, which one is the right path for me? With your eyes closed, and the path is going to light up. And when it lights up, you're going to feel it inside your body, right there in that area. It's your gut calling you. And you can pause the video if you need. So that's a great way, a great exercise to start to get your intuitive muscles working if you are a visual person and if you need help with getting still and connecting with the sensations in your body. Another way is just trusting your initial voice and your initial response to new situations. A lot of times when you get into a new situation, especially a relationship, any kind of relationship, it could be a work relationship or a romantic relationship, you're going to get some intuitive nudges in the form of sensations in your body or confirmations around you. Before the mind starts to jump in there and do its song and dance and grab the mic and shout to you, telling you everything that your parents or your cousin or your friend from middle school or high school or whatever told you was accurate. That's not your intuition. That's outside. Okay. The intuition is quiet, is going to nudge you, and it typically comes with some kind of emotional, physical response. And that is how we develop our intuition. So the outside world is noisy, it's loud, it's bright, but the intuition is subtle, it's quiet. You have to quiet yourself. You have to go into the darkness to find the light. This is the story of my life. Going into the darkness to find the light. There have been times in my life where I felt like I was surrounded by so much darkness. And as I grew deeper into my spiritual practice, I started to realize it was because I carried this stuff with me and it was passed on to me from the dark energies of my ancestral wounds. And I worked to heal that and release myself as well as my ancestors from those wounds through my inner work. And that is what I teach in this space. That is consciousness reconditioning. That's exactly what we're doing by honoring the inner goddess. Okay. So when you are activated in your inner goddess, that means that you are activated in your body with your truth, with your desires, and you have your intuition. And therefore, a result of this is going to be able to have healthy boundaries. You have healthy boundaries because to an extent, the dark goddess puts herself first. Excuse me. She puts herself first. That's confirmation. We'll start to see these burps as confirmation. Excuse me. She puts herself first. She's all about, she self-preserves. She self-satisfies. She self-soothes. Okay. And so therefore she has boundaries. And you know you have good boundaries when you are aware of your energy and the field of energy that surrounds you. And you are aware when you become uncomfortable in response to other people's behaviors and actions towards you. And you honor your body's physical responses to the breaching of those boundaries. And boundaries are energetic. Before they become verbal and they become expressive, they're energetic. So one thing that I've learned in my life is about energy and working with energy. And you can get into the academy for more information on this. But when it comes to boundaries, naturally, because I have such a strong presence, my vibration is so high and it is so strong that it naturally deflects toxic energies away from me. Like people don't bother me if they know that they are out of line or not vibrating. And it's not a conscious thing. They don't know why they are repelled or why they feel like, "Ooh, I can't get too close to her." Because energy is always going to precede you. Your auric field, which is the field of energy that surrounds you, that is generated by your being. We are all batteries and we all generate energy because we are all electromagnetic. We're all just light beings. Okay. We're human. HUE, humans. Okay. And so, what the energy that you exude, when it is healthy and it is intact, you don't have to speak loudly or defend yourself. Oftentimes, people are going to feel that by the existence of your being. And that's a whole nother training. I should do a video on boundaries as well. But the dark goddess is so rooted in herself, in her own energy, that she doesn't have to explain herself. She is felt. She is full of her authentic self and of her authentic energy, because she hasn't been busy leaking out her energy trying to satisfy and please everybody. Okay. That's that dark goddess energy. She is very aware of what her non-negotiables are when she is doing contracts. And we are always writing contracts with people in our relationships. We are writing contracts with the things that we give our energy to, because everything is an energetic agreement. Anything that you give your energy to, you're in an agreement, and to an extent, you are in a contract with that thing that you are giving your energy to. So you want to be aware of the energy exchanges that you are having, no matter what they are. This could be with a behavior, or it could be with a person or a situation. She is aware of her depths of desires, once again, because she's into her authentic desires. She's not afraid of it. She's overcome her fears of herself. Or at a minimum, she's aware of those fears and she does not let them control her. She gives herself permission. Okay. And she is self-initiated. So again, we can use our mother Lilith as an example of what it means to be self-initiated. When you are self-initiated, again, you don't seek out permission and you don't seek out validation. You don't need anyone to give you confirmation, because you have the energy of the primal material running through you. It is activated. It is strong in your awareness because of the time that you took to go into the wilderness of yourself and to discover your true authentic aspect. You move through your fears and you overcome them. You shed off old versions of yourself that no longer become you and the person that you are becoming. And you initiate yourself by changing your thoughts and your habits to align with your authentic desire. All right. So that's your dark goddess energy. And I encourage you to consider, how is it that you are bringing your dark goddess energy into your life? How can you use your dark goddess energy to support you in life and to make this thing easier? Because as goddesses, we don't want things to be hard. We want things to be easy, and we want things to allow them to flow. So we need all of our flavors and we need all of the different aspects of ourself in order to have options and variety in which we approach life and we perceive life. And the dark goddess is like, she is prime. The dark goddess will save you. Dark goddess has saved my ass. My inner dark goddess has gotten me out of situations that I got into because my light goddess wanted to please people that were not worth pleasing. Okay. And then of course, there is the light and there's the shadow to everything. So you want to be self-initiated and self-aware. If you're behaving in the shadow aspect of your dark goddess, that means that you are doing things that can potentially be detrimental to others in the name of being authentic and looking out for yourself. So we never want to hurt or harm or wish ill upon anyone in the name of an aspect of ourself. Okay. And I want to be clear that the dark goddess does not mean evil or any of that. The dark goddess is simply comfortable with the shade and is comfortable with the things that society would not necessarily like to accept or agree upon. But we don't operate in the shadow. Okay. You don't want to operate in the shadow in life. The dark goddess is not afraid to live in the light. And she wishes well upon herself and upon everyone else until you get into the shadowy realms, which then becomes toxic. It becomes toxic to yourself and it becomes toxic to others. All right. So we'll probably have some more conversations on the dark goddess. I just wanted to get it started and to discuss intuition a little bit as well as boundaries. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. If you enjoyed it, please like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next one. One love. Mwah.